Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Royal Talens Creators Studio Live. My name is Jeff Olson. I'm the Art Education Director for Royal Talens North America. And welcome after a hiatus. We haven't been on the air for a while. Super excited to be back, and we have a very, very special show for you. And have you, or maybe you have or haven't, but if you've heard of Sizzix, you're in for a real treat today. If not, get ready to be amazed. Today, we'll be talking with Jen Long. She's the head of product design at Sizzix, and she'll be sharing the details and giving us a short demo of the new Sizzix Studio line of products that's in collaboration with Royal Talens. At the end of the show, we'll be giving away a Sizzix Studio package to one lucky winner, along with a healthy supply of Amsterdam acrylic paint. To be eligible, as always, you need to make a comment or ask a question during the live broadcast, and we'll announce the winner at the end. So thank you so much, folks who are already with us. Great to see some familiar names and faces, and all the newbies as well. So everybody, please join me in welcoming Jen. Jen, how are you doing?
I am good. Thanks so much for having me. It's been a real treat preparing for this. I've been looking forward to it.
So much fun. Me too. Me too. We had the opportunity to talk a couple days ago, and I just got more excited about learning more about the Sizzix. I've had a brief introduction so far, so there's going to be some good learning for me as well, and I'm really looking forward to it. Before we get into the demo, I always have a few questions to ask of our guests, and to learn more about you and learn more about Sizzix, of course. But I guess the first question, especially for folks who have never heard of it, what is Sizzix?
Right. Okay. Well, that's a really good question to start off with. Sizzix, it's a creative company, and our parent company is called Ellison. And that company was actually founded in 1977 by an educator. And she was looking for a more easy way to create content and decorate bulletin boards for her classroom. So she was really tired of cutting out the same shape over and over again. She was actually trying to cut out shamrocks and find a quicker way to cut out the same shape over and over again. So shamrock shapes was really her inspiration. And she wanted to do this without having to use scissors. And her husband actually had an engineering background. So in their garage, which I love companies that start out in the garage, they worked to develop the first consumer die cutting machine. And it was like a press machine, and it would use these dies that had steel rule blade that had the design shapes in them, and they could cut out,
Oh, cool.
detailed shapes, and they could cut out multiple pieces of paper at one time. So it was a huge time saver and allowed you to get more intricate shapes. And that was really a huge leap forward in education to support teachers, not just for decorating your bulletin boards, but having unique visuals for lesson plans and enabling new art classes at schools. And really quickly, Ellison machines became a staple in classrooms in the US and beyond. And then from there, in 2001, Ellison launched our creative brand Sizzix. And that opened up the benefits of die cutting, having that consumer die cutting machine, to the consumer craft market. And it really quickly became a leader in the craft industry for a variety of making activities like paper crafting, scrapbooking, card making, and home decor. And I'd say the Sizzix brand really paved the way for everyone to have a creative lifestyle. That's really our brand goal. And that enabled us to become a global market leader in the arts and craft market. And we went on to take that first press die cutting machine that our founder invented, and we released a modernized version of that, a manual die cutting machine, and that is called the Big Shot. And that sold over 1.5 million machines over 100 countries globally. So it's just an amazing flagship machine for us. And we did go on to expand past die cutting. So we developed really unique embossing folders, stamps, and stencils as well. But I think Sizzix as a brand, what is most important to me and what is a really unique thing about Sizzix as a creative company is our product innovation, especially in tools and accessories. We have such a rich history of developing innovative and solution-driven products. We develop and manufacture creative tools, essentially art supply tools that have just features and benefits that enhance a creative's experience while they're making. And just this past year, we won 2 awards for Best New Product at Creative World in Frankfurt and at the NAMTA show in New Orleans.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you, for a scoring board and trimmer tool, and something called the Stamp and Spin accessory. It works with the registration press tool that I'll be demoing for you guys shortly.
That is so cool. I love origin stories like that. People solving problems, innovating, and creating opportunities for others. It's fantastic to hear how the whole thing got off the ground. How did you become involved with the company? What's your background?
I would say I'm a true creative at heart. I loved drawing and painting as a kid, and my parents were actually very supportive. I have great parents, and they supported my creative journey, and they enrolled me in all the, painting and ceramics classes that they could. And my mom crafted when I was young, so I was really exposed to being creative. She did tool painting and soft crafts and quilting. So I was just very enveloped in artistic experiences as a kid. And I went on to decide that's what I wanted to do with my career, which I'm sure freaked out my parents, but they were still supportive of it. So I was trained traditionally. I went to art school. I went to Otis College of Art and Design for a bachelor's degree, and then I followed that up with a master's degree in illustration. And after that, I worked at Disney for a few years in their consumer products division and their character art department. And that was absolutely amazing to just see how you can take your art talent and kind of turn it into a commercial living. But really those positions, they don't last too long in general. So I was really looking for a full-time
Yeah.
art job. And I applied for a job at Sizzix, and I was hired, and I was like the lowest designer possible, like literally the bottom of the total totem pole of designers. And after working there for a few years, I just became really interested in how product was made, how things were actually manufactured. And I just felt a lot of passion to continue our founder's path of innovation. So I was fortunate enough to actually spend some time in China visiting our factory. I learned about how products made, and I just had this goal to push the limits on what products are capable of, just so a creative person have the tools to actually have their ideas come to life more accurately. Um, so now I mean, I've been with the company 14 years. So now I'm head of product design, and that's pretty much my job as a whole, but they still let me design stuff here and there to keep my creative heart happy, which I'm fortunate for.
That's great. That's great. What a wonderful background. I love those kind of experiences and how artists take their skill set and adapt them throughout their life to create opportunities. I hear that a lot from students. How did you get to where you are? How did you
Yeah.
end up doing what you're doing? And it's just, letting them know that, hey, you have a lot of skills, a lot of value, and a lot to contribute, and if you can find some place, just be open, be open to those experiences. And that your story is a perfect example of seizing it, seizing those opportunities. I love that.
Well, that's one of the first questions I asked you when we
Yeah.
met. How did you get here?
How did you get to where you're going? Yeah, yeah. I mean, artists, there's such a narrow definition, I think, especially for younger people who are just getting started, of what it means to be an artist. And you have to kind of look beyond that because artists are involved in so many different aspects of life. So, yeah, that's fantastic. We are here to talk
Yeah.
about a specific product line, the Sizzix Studio. So tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So Sizzix Studio, this is a new brand from Sizzix, and it's really our venture into the fine art and mixed media market. And really, when you think about Sizzix as a brand and all of the creative product and innovation that we're known for in the industry, we're known as experts in our product development. So it's kind of almost feels silly to not reach across the aisle and try and take that connection to someone who considers themselves a fine artist or a mixed media maker. And honestly, as a brand, we wanted to kind of like mix things up a little bit and I don't know, maybe like being disruptive. Like, I don't know if disruptive is the right word, but disruptive to what people would automatically assume a craft company does or what a craft company is capable of.
Hmm.
Um, and so in general, I feel like I'm kind of like thinking in my background, even at art school, it seems like there's maybe like a disconnect between the mixed media or fine artist creatives and the crafting community, probably because maybe the intention of what they're creating is so very different. Like a crafter may make a card as opposed to somebody making a painting. But if you think about it, they're all using art supplies, they're all using art tools, and they all have that emotional intention, to share something that they've created with somebody. So I think that's just something that we wanted to solve and kind of bridge that gap and kind of share these tools with everybody. And one of the most amazing things that we kind of found when we developed the product was we curated a focus group. And the focus group was a wide range of mixed media and fine artists. And we actually incorporated some of the ambassadors from Royal Talens to join that, like Vic Vaughn and Kat Care. And the most kind of light bulb moment I had was how much they gravitated towards the tools and accessories. And it was just this huge light bulb moment because they were using these tools that we've, usually been isolated in the craft industry, but they were using them for a fine art approach. And they were just blown away by how it enhanced their creative process. It completely like eliminated the fear of putting paint to paper. And so Sizzix being an absolute leader in innovating tools and accessories, like why not reach across the aisle and um, see what's
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. I think from the point of Royal Talents, it's the same thing for us. We're very well known for our fine art products and categories. And so this gives us an opportunity to reach across to folks who are maybe defining themselves more as DIY or craft. But I think that line between fine art and craft has been blurred, and people are successfully crossing over it in both directions for a long time now, and it's really exciting. I think there were a lot of reasons that created those boundaries, but today it's great. People are breaking them, and fine artists are looking at tools like this and saying, "Hey, there's some opportunities here." And the opposite is true for folks who are involved in craft and DIY. That some of these fine art materials really can be applied in meaningful ways to their process too. So this is exciting. I'm excited about it.
I almost kind of got the feeling that maybe fine artists or mixed media people have kind of been starved for modernized tools, if that makes a sense. So just giving them the power to have more control over their creative journey. We have like a blending tool that uses paint seamlessly, and this media mat that elevates how you mix your palettes. And the star of the show is our registration press tool. And I'll show you guys this during the demo, but
Yeah.
like all of it works together and it pairs with the paints and mediums from Royal Talens so seamlessly. And just being able to work with that team, it's such a top tier brand with all these high quality brands within it. It's just, I've admired the brand since art school, and it's been a dream come true to work with the company, even like meeting Mary, who I like consider her a friend now, in addition to a colleague. So it's just been such a great experience. And I do really have to credit our general manager, Fiona, for kind of having the courage to take that leap and encourage us. Like, we can do this. We can kind of work both sides of the aisle and come out with
Yeah,
something that's
yeah. I
successful.
think it was really helpful that when we got together, we recognized that our core values were very much aligned. And that made it really easy to work together and exciting and interesting to work together as we both kind of explored what the other had to offer. And the Sizzix Studio, as you were mentioning, the tools, I see fine artists being able to utilize them, whether it's a matter of convenience or just exploration of new
Mhm.
tools. And I bet you within a year, we're going to see people are using these tools in ways we never imagined, and creating things that we never imagined. And that's really the exciting part of it all, right?
Yeah, that's the dream.
All right. So without further ado, I'm sure folks are really itching to see what is the studio is all about. So I'm going to let you go ahead and switch over the demo, and I'm going to spotlight your camera, and then folks can see us get to work on the new Sizzix Studio. Perfect.
Okay, so that is our setup. Okay, so the heart of the system is this registration press tool. I'm going to show you the packaging for it. So this is what it looks like in the box. Sizzix, as a brand, we've rebranded Sizzix Studio to, have the gray as opposed to our traditional mint, and we have this red tie-in to kind of connect with Royal Talens on the end cap that goes up. But this is the heart of the tool, and this is, or the heart of the program, and this is a multifunctional, it's a dual process tool. So the lid acts as a stamp press, and the lid is removable. And then this right here is your stencil adapter. So this is what you would use to line up and register your stencils. And it has these little peg holes that your stencils attach to, and it attaches onto the hinge, and you can kind of move it around and place it everywhere you want. So you have a wide workspace to do your projects on. This is a sticky grid sheet. It's kind of sticky comparable to like a Post-it note. and it's removable and it is replaceable. And then the newest element to this tool is this hinge adapter. And this attaches right onto the base of the registration press tool. And this allows you to work on thicker materials like your canvases, sketchbooks, wood panels. So this is what really took our tool to the next level to let you work with what, more fine artists kind of gravitate towards. So I'm going to kind of demo for you today. And the sets I'm going to be using are two sets from our Sizzix Studio range. I have one by Vic Hollins and one by Cat Care. And there's a tremendous amount of value in these sets. They come with 3 stencils a piece and 1 full-size stamp set. So I think it's a great value, but also I like the fact that you can really mix and match the sets because they obviously work together as a whole, but the mixing and matching really brings a lot of fun into it. And the program does use the Royal Talens sketchbooks, art creation sketchbooks. And these fit right on that sticky grid sheet that I told you about, and it kind of holds it in place for you. You can still move it around as you need to, and then, your stencil converter can fit right here, and your stencil is just attached to that. But the first thing I'm going to do is kind of just build up a little bit of a background. So this is that tool I was kind of mentioning. This is the foam heads where they help paint just go seamlessly through the detailed intricacy of the stencils. These heads are removable and swappable. So you can, swap out blending heads, you can swap out the brayer, swap out a palette knife. It's just a really unique way to kind of elevate how you use a hand tool when you're making. And I've laid out my Amsterdam acrylic on here. This is my silicone palette, sorry. This is a silicone palette that has a non-slip background. It has wells embedded in it, so it's reusable, cleanable, very economically friendly, but I can't tell you how luxurious this feels when you put your paints on it and mix your mediums and roll on it. It's a really lovely palette to work with. So the first thing
I love the way those metallic colors look on that. I am going to talk very little because it's not allowing me to spotlight your video. So
Okay.
I'm going to be quiet and let you go to work, and then I'll save the questions for the end. Sound good?
I'll talk to you in a bit then. So the first thing I'm doing is just laying out a background. Obviously, everything, the sketchbooks work great with the stencils and stamps. I like to get a little bit of a mixed media background going. And these Amsterdam sketchbooks, I can't tell you how nicely they hold paint. Like there's no warping, there's no wrinkling. And some of the samples, we got up to 8 layers of paint on here without any kind of issue. So it really is a perfect pairing a product. And this brayer roller, it helps you create a background that looks honestly like you've spent tons of time on it, but that's kind of the trick with mixed media is making something look super complicated, but that was actually quite simple to do. And I'm going to also kind of take my palette knife and I'm just going to start spreading some of the paint across just to get more of a texture, kind of grungy look going on. And again, a really simple technique with the tools, but I think the effects that they have visually when it all comes together, so amazing. Let's just get this in a couple more spots. And really, there's no wrong way to do this. You don't have to follow step outs 1, 2, 3, or be exact with it. Of course, the press tool helps you be exact with your stencils and stamps, but there's no wrong way to put all this together. So that's just a quick background, just took a few seconds to get that going. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start incorporating the stencils. So this is one of the stencils that is in Kat's set that I showed you. And what's unique about the stencils is it has these registration holes that I pointed out, and these clip right on to our stencil converter, but the holes go all the way around. So you're not limited to one orientation. You can flip them, go upside down, mix and match. So you can see how that benefits as we go on with the demo. But I'm just going to clip on my stencils. You clip this onto your converter. I kind of want it lower, so I'm going to bring it down here, and you lay it right on. And then this is perfectly set in place. And I can't tell you how much just having everything aligned and perfectly registered, it really just eliminates the fear, again, of putting paint to paper. Jeff, we were talking about, I know you're not talking right now, but we were talking about, our love for stencils and what a great tool this is. But I think adding these elements to it just really elevates stencils to a whole another level of what you can make, and just not having any fear of making a mistake or messing up. So I'm just kind of moving this around my page. Again, that converter with the hinge lets you easily and seamlessly move it around. There's not any clunkiness. And you can see this blending tool head. You wouldn't expect that a foam head like this would apply paint through a stencil so cleanly and evenly, but it's just been the perfect method. I like this rolling kind of method as opposed to a dab, because I think that gives it a nice smooth feel. And you can lift that up and just see, you have a really nice stencil started. And let's go ahead and get to the next. The next one I'm going to get this leaf pattern. So I'm going to hook this on here. You know what? I think I'm going to go sideways for this one. Again, the benefits of having those registration holes all the way around. And I think I'm going to go right here. Now I'm going to mix it up and get a little bit of blue going on. And you can tell I'm not, you don't have to use all the stencil. I'm only using part of it and just kind of creating this asymmetrical composition. So again, the tools are here for you to use them as you see fit and kind of benefit whatever experience or making project that you want to take along the journey. Our stencils do get quite intricate as well. Like, these little cut lines get really small. There's a couple of examples. If there's time, I have some other project examples to show you that kind of illustrate all 8 sets that are in the range. But one of the stencil sets was so intricate that it made the laser cutter machine actually catch fire when they tried to manufacture it, which I kind of took it as a compliment. I didn't think our manufacturing team felt the same, but again, that's just our history of innovation and trying to push the limits of what you can make and achieve and have that go even further. I do like also that this can kind of help you put your stencil off the page. So you're not, and you're just not doing something right in the center in the same spot every time. I love stuff coming off the edge of the page. I think it's a really interesting look. And then lastly, I'm just going to bring it up to the top. And I'm going to do one more little blend of paint up here.
I can't help it. I have to interrupt for a second. What do you
Okay.
call that applicator again?
So this is a multi-tool, and we have a couple different versions. We have one, it's a blending tool set. So this comes with a handle and 2 interchangeable heads, and it comes with 6 of the foam heads. And these clean off very easily with water. Just using, scrubbing it with water just a little bit cleans it off very easily. So you really have the benefit of going back and forth between colors, and then, being able to peel off the heads and plop on a new one. I hate just having to stop and like clean my favorite paintbrush while I'm trying to paint something, as opposed to just being able to keep going and using a tool. So that's this version. And then we have our effects tool set. And again, it's the same handle, the heads all interchange, and it comes with the brayer head, a large palette knife, and a smaller palette knife. So these are my absolute go-to tools when I'm using any kind of paint or mixed media making. And then I'd overworked that, and I'm just going to go back and fix that really quick.
I just loved when I got the opportunity to use that. It made applying the paint so much easier and better results. I thought it was fantastic, and it did. It cleaned out super easy.
Right? Okay. So I just want to have a little bit of layering thing here. So I'm going to just add a little bit more on top of my stencil. And now I'm going to go ahead and move on to Vic's stencil sets. So what's really unique about Vic's stencil sets is that they actually layer on top of each other to create a design. So we have, I don't know if the camera can pick up, but we have numbered 1, 2, 3 here. And that helps you know, okay, this is layer number 1. This is what I'm going to do first. So I'm going to apply this to my converter and just line it up on my book. And you can still scoot your book up on the sticky grid sheet and just re-put it down. But it's such an interesting way that you can push your stencil designs further by having these registration holes, keep it in place, so you can actually do all 3 layers of the design and have everything hold in place. I would struggle to do this just by eye or just holding it without having those tools benefiting it and keeping it in place. So I'm just going through, and again, lots of nice intricate pieces, but that blending tool really does have a very effectful way of transferring paint through them, getting it down cleanly. I'm just going to put a little more here so that bounces off the page. There, and we got 1 layer done. And now, so we're going to the second layer, number 2. And these paints do dry fairly quickly, so I don't have too much of an issue with, you know, just plopping the next layer on and just going for it. And, you know, if it looks messy, you know, that was your intention, right?
Absolutely. And I was just going to say that how easily you've been able to layer without worrying about that because how fast it was drying. Now the surface will change that, right? So this is a fairly absorbent surface. If you were working on something that was a little smoother or less absorbent, it might take a little longer to dry.
It might take a little bit longer, yeah, like maybe preparing it would help a little bit, but definitely would see that with some other things, or depending on how precise you want to get. And then, so now I'm just putting the 3rd layer here. And for this one, I'm going to do something a little bit different. And instead of using the blending tool, I'm actually going to take my palette knife and I'm going to pick up some of this paint that I mixed earlier. And I'm going to use the palette knife to apply paint through the stencils. And that's kind of going to give me a little bit more of a textured feel. It's going to have the paint have some dimension to it and kind of pop off the page, just because I want that little part to have more of a raised area. So again, you know, just a variety of ways you can use the tools to get your paint through the stencils onto your paper. And again, just I have so much confidence in doing this because I know everything's set in place. We lift that up. And what a nice like layered design that is. I'm actually going to repeat that. So I'm going to do this on the bottom. I feel like I'm in love with asymmetrical designs these days. So again, remember we did this first layer here. Now I'm going to attach my stencil going upside down. And I'm going to bring it down to this portion of my sketchbook. I'm just going to scoot this over because I'm pretty persnickety about things being lined up. Push it down on my sticky grid again. And I'm going to kind of repeat the same thing. I want this section to be a little bit brighter because I don't have as much of that grungy wash underneath. And I kind of wanted the details to stand out a little more. But another really cool thing is you can actually blend your paint, you know, while you're doing this. Like I could pick up let's pick up a little bit of metallic for fun. And you can actually blend your paint through the stencil while you're on the go. So you can have the capability to get a really intricate design with a color blend within it, which would just be absolutely impossible to do without the tools and accessories in the program. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this. You can see what a nice intricate design that is. Let's just give that a little bit of a air down because I did put a lot of paint on that one. Come down, and now I'm going to get a little bit more of the metallic. And I'm going to layer metallic on top of that opaque orange. Maybe keep this one a little bit thinner so I don't stress out about having wet paint on camera. Peel this off, and really just a baby wipe, like, you know, while you're making, cleaning with a baby wipe is a really effective way to just keep this clean and move on to your next step. And then lastly, we're going to do this last stencil layer again. So this is the 3rd one. says number 3 on the top. I'm gonna use my palette knife again and just scrape my paint over so I can have that matching dimension that we did in the top corner. Okay, and we can lift this off. Ooh, you can see how nicely that came out and looks against the background. And now I think it's a good time to just put another little bit of layering on top. Mix this up just a little bit more with the darker colors. And now it's kind of time to look at our stamp sets and see how stamping works with the tool and the program. So now I've taken off my stencil converter. At the beginning, I mentioned this was a dual function tool. So this was what we use to work with our stencils. You literally just take that off, set this aside, and this is our registration press lid. This really works as a press, literally for stamps or anything that you can stick to it. It fits in there. And really the best way to do this is to lay down your stamp. Really the benefit of clear stamps, you can lay them down and see through them and really have an ability to set up your composition in the best way that you would want. So I want to put this one here and this one here for starters. And all you do is you lower your lid and it picks up the stamp and holds it cleanly onto the plate. And I'm going to remove my lid just to add some paint because I don't think I can get the back side of my lid in camera. But a couple ways to do this. I really find that using the blending tool head to apply paint works really nicely with the stamps. So I just plop paint on there. You can't really have too much just to make sure that all the intricacy lines transfer. But what's a really fun thing to do, and I like doing this similar to blending the paint through the stencils, is I like to pick up another metallic and actually blend the paint on my stamp set and kind of make sure that it's covering all the edges and getting everywhere in between and make sure that that's ready to go. So again, without these tools, I would have a hell of a time trying to, oh, I'm sorry, am I allowed to say that? I would have a heck of a time trying to get these colors to blend. So let's put this down. And then you can push it down. You just give it a little bit of pressure. And then when you lift it up, you have that beautiful, I mean, what an intricate, lovely design to pop off of that mixed media background with the colors blending. Another way to apply paint to your stamps that is nice, and if you want to have more of a cleaner look, so I'm actually using a little bit of a sentiment phrase from Kat's set, and I want those letters to come out cleanly. So I'm going to use my brayer roller and kind of apply paint this way. And again, the benefit of having these stamps on the lid is paint, paint's not perfect. It can be almost a volatile medium at times, especially when you're trying to do something that is so detailed and so intricate. But the benefit of having these stamps in place, like for example, let's say, oh, I missed this little part on the bird. You can just go back, add a little more paint, or if you wanted to add a medium or something on there, go back, add it. And now when you go down, your stamp's in the exact same position. So it really helps you keep everything perfected and it keeps everything registered. And it's a great tool also for people that want to do mass production. Just, oh, I got to pause. Look how nicely that sentiment came out on there.
That turned out great.
Wow. Okay. For mass production, like if you wanted to repeat a project, a lot of people repeat cards, but even repeating paintings or things to sell on Etsy has been a huge movement and across the market. So having this device that keeps everything in place and allows you to kind of repeat what you've done to mass produce, it's just a tremendous tool to help somebody, can cut their time and, do something in a quarter of the time that you were doing before. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a couple more stamps here to kind of show this off. And again, I'm going to pick them up. You know what? That needs to be a little further in, doesn't it? Let's put that right here. My love of having everything asymmetrical and off the edge. The lid does really benefit that. So I'm going to come back again, and on this little guy here, I'm going to put this dark metallic so it pops out. And on these dot ones, again, mixing from both Vic and Cat sets together, I'm going to add some light blue, and then I'm going to actually blend on the stamp and get into some of our dark blue area. Okay. And then again, you just lower the lid, give it a little bit of pressure. And then you can lift that up and see you got these nice designs here. I actually want a little bit more paint on that top one. So I'm just going to bring this back and add a little bit more media to my stamp. But everything is looking pretty good. Again, everything stayed in place, so no need to worry about any movement or. Okay. And then what that's very quickly and easily, from using the brayer roller and the palette knife to create a background, stencils to kind of layer on top of that, and then your stamps really act as a really nice focal point. So very quickly and easily allowed me to make this for you. So you can see just the benefits of how the tools work, how the stencils and stamps kind of let you just create different compositions to make a really personalized journal page. And again, it's not just for journaling. Canvases have the ability to work with this dimension. You can do wood panels, anything, bags, shirts, anything that you have dimension really fits on here and works beautifully. I do have some other project examples if I can take a second to show.
Yeah, please do. And if you can, just for folks who are joining later, maybe run through the tools real quickly again.
Let's do it. Okay, so what I'm starting with registration press tool, again, really the heart of the program. It's a dual purpose tool. So the lid acts as a stamp press, which you can see I have my stamps adhered to, and that allows you to, lower your stamps and have repeatability. And then the lid is removable. And this is a stencil converter. And this attaches to your hinge adapter in any position. And this has registration pegs on it where there are registration holes all the way around our stencil sets. So you're not tied to one orientation. You can go vertical, mix and match. So your stencils fit into these little pegs. They hook right onto the hinge adapter, and you can really move this around to create a stencil design wherever you would like on whatever you're working on. The really exciting tools that I've been using in the demonstration is my silicone palette mat. This is a reusable mat. It has a non-slip background, a very luxurious feel to it. It has wells embedded that hold your paint in place, a very nice large media area for mixing. And again, it's really economically friendly, environmentally friendly, I meant to say, for not kind of just being wasteful with your palette paper. I think the tools that everybody has fallen in love with across the board are our multi-tools. So these are hand tools that have interchangeable heads where you can remove the blending heads, and there's 6 foam heads that come with it. These just peel right off from Velcro, easily washable. And again, I forgot to say, like, when you're done stamping, you literally just take this to the sink, run it under water, and scrub your stamps with your blending tool head, and then your lid's clean, your stamps are clean, your blending head's clean. Like, it's a very useful tool for efficient cleanup as well. And again, these ones interchange for the palette knife, the brayer roller head, and the one tool I actually forgot to talk about and didn't use in my demo. This is our texture tool. This is a favorite because it allows you to create unique textures within your projects using these unique teeth marks that are along each edge. So I can just show you kind of on my palette, but you can see like you could run this across what you've painted and make this really unique teeth mark. You can pick up some paint from it, bring it over to your book and kind of run that across. Like there's a lot of different things you can do um, with the tools. Like there's no rules is what I'm trying to say. You can kind of take these and run with them and create anything that your heart desires. We do also have maker's tape in the range, and that's really to, like if you wanted to do any masking, this has the perfect amount of tack to stick to your pages without tearing your paper, and then come off and acts as a perfect mask, where in some instances we've created journals. I'll get to one where we wanted to kind of divide up the page and only do one side and kind of keep your gutter clean, and that was a really nice accessory to use with that. But I'm going to go through some of the examples. This is actually Kat's sketchbook. So she does these beautiful full page spreads. This is her possibilitarian set where she did, you know, her mixed media background. She did her stenciling on top and her stamping on top. But I think what I love about it is you can tell that with just a change in color palette, how you can get a completely different look and feel to the same design. So I'd kind of almost challenge anybody. Oh, even this one, you can change your composition, change your color palette, and get a completely different look and feel. I would challenge somebody to kind of do the same thing twice on this because it's such a unique variety of ways you can arrange stuff. That's another one. And then going on to her, I never say this word right, Ikagi. This set, this is a beautiful large scale stamp set that has all these little details in it. And people have been stamping this. The ink from Amsterdam's program is really helpful in this, and then using the Ecoline brushes to actually color them in. So that's a really nice approach to it. But then again, changing the color palette, changing some of the composition, you can tell what a different look and feel you can get, maybe kind of depending on, you know, here's a little bit happy and maybe a little bit sad this day. So you get a really different, unique mood to what you're working on. One of our other sets, again, a different example. And then I think she has one more in here. Oh, yeah. So this is using, like, that's the bird that I used in mine and the text stamp that I used. But just, you know, a beautiful demonstration of how all the paints, mediums, stencils, and stamps work together. With the benefit of having the assurance of the tools that work with it. And some other ones, these are some examples from Vic. I just put some Post-its so I wouldn't lose them. But this is actually the really intricate one that caught the laser machine on fire. I've never in my life seen a stencil set that has that amount of intricacy built into it, and being able to, you know, use a blending tool to just seamlessly go in circles and get paint through the stencil onto the page. That's amazing. There's stamps that go with it, so you have an easy kind of assortment of things that work together. This is her nature set. She has a really nice other one I'll show you in a sec with her nature set. And then this is her geometric one. Again, these are some of the stamps that I used in the demonstration. So it's a really nice variety because there's a mixture of organic and geometric shapes that again can all mix and match and look beautiful together. That's a kind of a cleaner example of what I was trying to do up here. So you can see how the layers 1, 2, 3 working perfectly on top of each other using the registration press can really benefit keeping everything in place and ensuring a perfect kind of transfer. And here, I know I already showed you, but look how intricate that is. That's such a crazy, it just looks like Victorian wallpaper, really. And
Yeah,
then
that's
just,
crazy. I had to jump in and say something. Those are they're
that's okay.
incredible.
And here's an example, like this is a project I did with Kat's possibilitarian set, and I really wanted my gutter to stay clean, so I just put that strip of masking tape there, and then you peel it off and you can, you know, clearly see that nothing came over. So just a nice little tool and accessory that's also in the program. This is Vic's, this is my favorite one from Vic. This is her nature set where she did, you know, acrylic wash background and then used the stamps and stencils on top of that. I think she has a love for asymmetrical compositions, just like I do. And then in here, we just have one more. Oh, right. So this is that really nice solid head stamp again. But again, you can see by just changing your color palette and using, you can just use one side of the page as opposed to doing a full spread. Lots of just opportunities for art journaling in general. And then another thing I wanted to point out tool-wise in the program, which we have this thing called a stencil converter. So this is what it looks like in packaging, but this is actually a converter that has a strip of adhesive at the bottom, and this peels off, and you can attach this to any stencil you already have at home, and that enables it to work with our system. So if you have stencil sets at home that you want to try with this, you can just pick this up and you get 10 in one pack. They're reusable. You can, reuse the adhesive. But allows you to kind of have all of your stencils enveloped into the program. And some of the things I made here, like this is a very thick canvas, and I just attached that converter and kind of use this to create this one. And then, another, really significantly heavy duty canvases that I was able to register my stencils on top of, apply my paint. And even this one got into the medium, the modeling paste from Royal Talens. So, I applied the modeling paste and let it dry. I was feeling like my modeling paste was maybe diluting the pigment in my paint a little bit. So applied the modeling paste and let that dry, and then put the stencil back again and applied the paint and then let that dry. And then lastly, I went back and put the stencil and kind of just rubbed some of your gold metallic on there. So the stencils work great for what I showed you, but they're also excellent as masking tools and just kind of any creative tool in general, from sketchbooks to journals to canvases to boards, just across the range of whatever art supply that you want to experiment with. And I think my love for this tool, this registration tool, it just ensures like a accurate professional result every time, regardless of your experience or your skill set, to get to this spot.
That has been wonderful. This has been fantastic, Jen. Love watching it, and how quickly and convenient all the tools were. Just what a wonderful,
Yeah, I
wonderful group of tools.
I think so this is an example I did yesterday to kind of prep for it. And you can see, I think I had a little bit more of a contrast with my stencils here, but you can see just those three that work together and layer on top of each other and then juxtaposed against that. I think I did this about 3 times yesterday just to get my nerves out of my system and make sure I would do it perfect on camera. But another just example to just show how the alignment of everything and just the layering feature of that really works beautifully. I think I lost your
Oh,
audio.
there we go. Why
There we
don't
go.
you go ahead and jump back in? Sorry, I was on mute there. And
Okay,
we've got some questions from folks. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. This has been fantastic, Jen. Great job.
thanks.
No, it was wonderful. And the way you went through and shared all the information on the tools and how they work and the demonstration itself, fantastic. And I've got lots of comments. I am so bummed that the spotlight won't work because there were so many things I would have commented on, but I've been typing them in. I've been typing them
Okay.
in. So we'll get to go back over it now. But lots of folks are really excited about it. We're getting some good comments. Kind of go back to the beginning here and see what I can get. Hello from everywhere. We got folks from as far away as Germany. So Sabine, she wins the award for farthest away for sure. Um, but just loving the stencils. I want to go back and comment on that. I love using stencils when I'm teaching in my own work sometimes too, but I love them for teaching because it just eliminates so much fear and it encourages people to explore and really experience the materials. I love that part of it.
It makes it easy. Like that was so easy really to do. And just trying, if I think about taking a sketchbook and some paint and trying to do that by hand, I think I'd have a nervous breakdown. So just having the assurance that everything is held in place, the stencils can move around, like you're not handcuffed to having it in a certain position. You can flip them and mix and match. There's just so much creative freedom to it, and just so much assurance that it's going to come out looking like something you're proud to post, something you're proud to sell, something that you're proud to give away to somebody else. It truly does make everybody feel like an artist,
Yeah,
regardless
yeah.
of if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced.
So convenient too. Everything as you were going along just fits in easily and quickly. Doesn't like interrupt the flow of thought. I think maybe some people looked at all those different tools and go, "Oh my God, I'm going to be spending all my time figuring out how to use them." But it really is super straightforward, and really enhances the creative experience, not takes away from it.
Definitely.
The textures you were getting with the palette knife were really fun too. I'm glad you showed that. I love doing that with stencils.
It looks so much harder than it is. Like when you see a finished piece, you think that must have took the person ages. And the first time I did it, I was like, oh, that was so simple. Man, better than I thought it was.
No, it's really a great way to add some actual dimension, right, to the composition, and it gives you another perspective on the work. And with those metallics, and I know this from experience too, when you get some layers, thick layers of the metallics on, the way the light works with those specialty pigments, it just increases the luminosity of the piece in general. So it definitely worth trying, everybody out there. Try that palette knife technique with the stencil, you'll love it.
I think layering is the key to that. I think when Mary and I were first working on the program, we were calling it artful layers, just because there's so many different elements that you can add on top of each other. And again, the sturdiness of that paper, if you're in a journal, it just works perfectly. Of course, the canvas or a board, not an issue at all. But being able to work with that kind of paint and do 8 layers of paint that we just did on a single page, it's truly an experience.
Yeah, those sketchbooks are wonderful. Those are the Talens Art Creation sketchbooks, and I believe it's a 90-pound paper, kind of a
Mhm.
mixed media paper, and they work great even with stacking a lot of paint on them. They really hold up. They're great journals. Definitely check those out, and a great value too. Great price on those. And I love that you showed some canvases and blocks too, because you're really not limited. This isn't just a journaling tool, right? This is a creative tool that can be applied to a variety of types of surfaces. I think that's something really important to say too.
Yeah, I think art journaling is a really popular making activity right now. I think just having awareness of mindfulness and be able to creatively express yourself and having a platform to do that on is great for journaling. But working with those canvases, man, that was a really fun experience too. And then just being able to easily have something to hang on your wall is just great.
Yeah, I was really impressed the first time I used it with the stamping feature. I mean, the stencils, I'm familiar with stencils. I love what stencils can do. And this is an amazing way to work with them. But that stamping just added a whole nother level, and how easy it was. I've struggled with stamping before and kind of set it aside, but this was just boom. And I like the idea that you could reproduce it or layer it with a variety of colors, and so easily. That was
Yeah.
great.
And our stamps, like these stamps are very intricate. Like
Yeah.
getting all these designs, but using that blending tool with the paint just makes the impression transfer perfectly. And I think blending the paint on the actual stamp itself, that was a big light bulb moment for me when I was first testing the
Yes.
assortment. Because you can't, like, you just can't do that with anything else. And blending a matte blue with a metallic copper and having that come out perfectly on your page, like it's just like a freak in a good way.
It was great. It was great. And I think I made a comment about that too, the blending of the two different colors together. Even when
Mhm.
you're doing the stencil, I think a lot of folks think, oh, I'm going to fill that area with this one color. Blending is a great way, with paint, with markers, a lot of different materials. You can create wonderful blends using stencils. Really fun to see. Lots of comments here. Most of it's just praise. Very versatile, fantastic. Looks like so much fun. I love the reveal too. The reveal when you lift up the press and then get to see
Yeah.
the image. It's like mono printing or block printing. It's always exciting to
Yeah.
see the result. Yeah.
I think if you're on live camera, maybe it's like 50% terrifying and 50% exciting to just make sure that it's transferred perfectly, but I'm happy that everybody's enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally get it. I get it. You're kind of all out there when you're doing these shows for sure. The text comments on the texture, great to see that. Um, I did post everybody Vic's website and Kat's website in the comments, so you can follow those links and learn more both about those artists. They're fantastic ambassadors.
If you want to look at, we have all of Vic and Kat's sets here.
Oh yeah, yeah, go ahead and show those. I'll spotlight you or put you
Be
on speaker.
quiet. So again, this is Vic's geometric set. And so this actually used the top portion of her stencil that we used in the demo. And what's cool about a lot of Vic's set is she divided her stencils into three. She always gets the most out of the product that she designed. So you technically are getting three different designs in one set that all layer with that 1, 2, 3 function that is clearly labeled on the stencils and then aligns to the registration press perfectly. And might as well just go through all of Vic's set ones. Vic's other ones, we have our infamously famous Set the Laser Machine on Fire ornate set. And again, really nice kind of background with the two intricate ones to go on top of it. And these Art Nouveau style stamps that work perfectly with it. And that's a really beautiful background set. Her nature set, again, giving us the most value and versatility by giving us three different things to work with. This is actually a beautiful meadow set. Alexis is making a really pretty project right now using these one on top of another. And then the nature stamp sets. This one is just killer for applying texture onto things. And it's like, you don't think to go to a stamp for texture, but it's just so organic and captures the paint beautifully. And then her last one, this is her retro set. Again, a really classic retro design where you can layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and you get that, you know, perfectly blended look. And then there's stamps in here. Everybody's nuts about that little kitty cat as well. That little retro kitty cat keeps popping up everywhere across our influencers and different projects. And then for Kat, she has this set called Create. What I like about Kat sets too is she incorporated some sentiments in hers. So not necessarily for like card making, but like the journaling set I just did, I really wanted a strong focal point. So I think having some text and kind of writing in there kind of can help you either have a focal point, or if you're going to want something to prompt your art journaling, it's a really nice starting set. So really nice all over background stencils and stamp set. I love a color wheel. I love a good color wheel. I can't get away from that. Another one from Kat called The Visitor. And these are the two stencils that I used in my project. And again, some of the stamp sets, that really intricate corner one and the bird, and again, text set that I used. One of the most beautiful ones, I think. The Possibilitarian. I don't think possibilitarian's a real word, but now it is. So that's really cool. Like the number 1 has been really popular. The word's really popular. Again, that's a very intricate set that just works beautifully with the paint. And the stamp set of the face, and then all the supporting elements. And then finally, this one again by Kat with that beautiful head silhouette, and then the mountain range built inside the stamp. I think that really speaks to our manufacturing capabilities, that we're able to create, you know, stamps that have that much detail and then impress with the paint that perfectly using the tools. So that is all 8 of the sets. I have also the tools and accessories in packaging, like just to kind of.
Those are wonderful to see. Thanks for sharing all those. Just so much talent and precision on both sides of it.
Yeah, definitely. Tool ways, this is that medium mat. So this is that palette rolled up, just so you can recognize how it looks in the packaging. Again, those two hand tool sets that everybody's crazy about now, the blending tool and the effects tool, where you can mix and match the heads. And we also have, you know, the main star of the show, again, that registration press tool. That's this guy. And this is the hinge adapter. That's what I clipped onto the top of it, just to elevate, to help it work with more dimension. It comes with a sticky grid sheet, but we have sticky grid sheets as a replaceable item. They do last, I'm going to be honest, they last a fairly long time. It's not something
They're
that you
super
only
helpful.
find.
Yeah, I found that to be one of the best features of it. in terms of consistency, right? To be able to just put your piece of paper or the sketchbook down and not worry about it moving when you're creating all these layers. I thought that was a really ingenious solution.
And also developing the adhesive to that where it holds your paper in place, but it doesn't rip your paper when you tear
Yes.
it off. Like that's a big key thing for a lot of us. That maker's tape that doesn't also can mask perfectly without tearing your paper. Yeah,
All
it's looking
great
like
tools,
a
all
change.
great tools. So of course, the ultimate question is, where do I get these? And they are available now at local retailers and online, of course. So just type in Sizzix Studio in your search or reach out to your local favorite art supply store. And these products are available for sale now. And go check them out for sure. A lot of fun. And you can buy the whole thing together, or you can buy piecemeal and kind of grow your collection. So lots of options there. And the presentations that I've seen in stores and online also share the links to the variety of Royal Talens products, specifically the Amsterdam acrylics. And I did put some information in the chat there about Amsterdam. It's a wonderful line of artist acrylics, light, fast, pigmented colors, 102 colors to choose from, 23 specialty pigments, including the metallics. So a wonderful, wonderful product line and a great partnership. Super excited about. And then I've got one more order of business, and that is to pick a winner before we go. And drum roll is Cindy Murray. Cindy Murray, you are today's winner. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the comment, and then I'm also going to show you how to get a hold of me. You want to direct message me at Royal Talens NA, and I'm putting that into the chat there. So at Royal Talens NA, send me a direct message. We'll get your information and get you your very own Sizzix Studio and some Amsterdam paint as well. So this has been great. Thank you again, Jen. It's fantastic.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time, and just the whole Royal Talents team has been so wonderful to work with. I appreciate just getting to know everybody there. It's been a dream come true to be even connected with the brand, and seeing the end cap go up, with Sizzix and Royal Talents together, I think it's just been a true highlight of my career so far. So heartfelt thanks with the utmost sincerity to you guys and your whole team.
Oh, thank you too, and everybody there at Sizzix. It's been a lot of fun. We've all been really enjoying it, and a whole new opportunity for us. We're super excited about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us again on the Creator Studio Live. I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon next time. We will probably have one or two more shows before the end of the year, and then we're going to have a whole new lineup in 2025, both some short and long shows. So a lot to choose from and lots to see in the coming year. But thank you again, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next time on the Creator Studio Live. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.